Hello everyone, here we are for episode 11 of the AUNZ Music Podcast. Welcome back. Today we are with Leah Henry, who is the co-owner of Nighthawks live music venue. How are you doing today, Leah?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good to see you.
Nice. Yeah, likewise. Me and Leah have been interacting over the past year as I've been running an open mic night at Nighthawks called The Listening Room, which we're doing monthly, and that's been really smooth with Leah and Nighthawks. Let me tell you a little bit about Leah. She was born in Melbourne and found herself in hospitality scene from the age of 14. That long journey has led Leah to becoming the co-owner of Collingwood's very own Nighthawks, as I said, for the last decade. Having travelled the world, Leah and her co-owner Marcus captured the essence of American dive bars and Japanese drinking culture, all while providing top quality live music in their band room upstairs. Leah's commitment to housing bands and supporting the live music scene during a time when it is not easy for bands and bars alike to pull a sustainable profit from such is undeniable, and it's places like Nighthawks that give artists a platform to evolve and explore their artistry. So we're really honoured to have you here today, Leah. Thanks for joining us, and we'd like to ask our guests for a silly fun fact unrelated to music, just to kick things off, get the ball rolling. You got anything juicy for us? Share.
I don't know how juicy it is, but I feel like the sort of funniest memory that I like to share with people, which I feel like kind of set the tone for my personality a bit, was that when I was in primary school, so like 5 or 6 years old, I went to a really small country primary school, and I told everyone in school that from this day on I wanted to be known as Scorpion, and that was what I wanted my name to be, but unfortunately it never stuck. So
that's even better. Nicknames normally happen the other way around. They normally happen when you don't want them to stick, and then they happen. I'm surprised the kids didn't shape that into something with a bit more malice.
I know, but yeah.
I reckon you've dodged a bullet there, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. Could work, could not.
We can always bring it back, Scorpion, if you like.
If you like, yeah.
Cool. No, that's a good one. I like that. Let's move on to the news digest for the week. This one is entitled Music Australia Encourages Nation to Ausify Your Algorithm via Bureau of Everything from bandit.com on November 3rd. We're recording here on the 8th of December, so this initiative started about a month ago, but it was fronted by Thelma Plum, Kelly Holiday, and a host of established and up-and-coming artists. Ausify Your Algo is an entertaining ride through the A to Z's of Aussie music with the cool to all to search, listen, and defy. The hashtag Ausify campaign devised by the Bureau of Everything was collaborating partners Versus, Love Media, and Thinking Loud, was designed to change how the public engages with Australian music, calling on Australians to more actively support homegrown music. To make it easy for Aussies to get started, the hashtag Ausify website features a step-by-step guide of ways you can Ausify your algorithm, along with links to Ausified playlists to listen to, plus a live, unique generator designed by ED Studios and powered by Disco. Serving up a constant stream of great Australian music recommendations to discover and enjoy, you can explore it now at ausify.com.au. It launched in tandem with Oz Music Month, that's November, and Millie Milgate, Director of Music Australia, had this to say: Australian artists can be overshadowed by global content, although together we can help all that change. Every local artist you seek out, play, follow, save, share, request, and see live helps our musicians rise. By choosing Australian music, we can shift our algorithms, support our artists, and help our local scene thrive. So a couple of questions, Leah. as a live music venue manager that primarily hosts Australian music, I imagine you are on board with such an initiative. And live music performance opportunities are key stepping stones in artists developing a local presence. So with that inside knowledge and years of experience in the scene, what is your feel about artists playing live nowadays? Is live music from Australians thriving?
I mean, it's abundant. I don't know if it's thriving, but it also depends on what thriving looks like to people. Yeah, I mean, I was really deeply involved with the Australian music scene in the 90s. And I think anyone who was around at that time would say that that's when Australian music really started to thrive, because I think there was whole festivals that only had Australian lineups, obviously just like weekly gigs that, international bands weren't a necessity to pull big groups of people to see shows or to festivals. So comparing what's happening now to what was happening in the 90s, it doesn't look like Australian music is thriving. But at the same time, it's maybe we just need to sort of shift the goalposts a little bit and see it as being a bit more localized or not as big as it used to be. So to speak.
Yeah, I feel you. It is also just, different, two completely different cultural time periods, aren't they? The 90s compared to the 2020s. There's a lot more sources of distraction nowadays, should we say.
Yeah.
What do you think are some of those hurdles, or where do you think the goalposts need to shift to help Australian music maybe rediscover that 90s thriving component?
Yeah, I mean, I think that would have to be a major, public shift in what they're interested in, because, we're still, and also what is being supported by government initiatives. So things like the Ausify initiative is really positive to see that it is really focusing on Australian music and local bands and getting people connected to what's happening, in Australia or within each capital city. I think you'd require a huge public shift in what people see as major entertainment. You still see that all of the big stadium gigs are the most attended shows. And then you have situations where Amel and the Sniffers play Fed Square and the show gets cancelled. So I think we need to sort of, shift into a situation where the public is obviously interested. We can see that they wanted to go to shows like the Free Amel and the Sniffers show in the city, but then the government and everyone who's sort of organising all of that needs to come together and organise themselves better to, prop that up.
Yeah, I feel that. I think it's also just the nature, if we're comparing the 90s to now in terms of music consumption, the nature of streaming and accessibility to music in general is so much more prevalent that we can touch all corners of the globe. And even so, it still feels like while our tastes might be more exposed to Australian music, it feels like we still get smacked in the face with the global content. And that's why I liked this Ausify initiative, in that they're talking about reshaping your algorithm, because you really can see your algorithm being automatically influenced by the content you consume. It's harder to see on Spotify, but when you're on social media and you scroll your reels, and if you like one of those reels, that is just a token of that's me saying I want to see more of that. It's not a like button anymore. It's a I want more button now. But maybe back in the 90s there was less accessibility to the music, and so what was available on the scene was what they got, and so they were there to take it.
Yeah, to consume it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's tricky though. What else do you think could be done by live music venues to help Ausify our algorithms or Ausify our lives in terms of live music?
I mean, Ausifying life, that's what all local venues are doing already. Like, you know, all local venues are putting on Australian content up to 100% every day of the week or every week. So I don't think venues can do that much more in a sense, you know, or they, you know,
True.
they can, or they could get involved more on socials. But I think definitely in regards to like, are local venues putting on local music? Yes, they are. They're generally not putting on that much else. I think
that's right. Yeah, no, you're totally right. Yeah. They've been the catalyst of Ausifying music, really, haven't they? You alluded to stadium shows. Would you say that those bigger scale venues are they thriving at the moment? Those sort of shows, those stadium shows?
I think so. I think attendance to those shows is pretty high, and also coming pretty thick and fast. I mean, you had Oasis and AC/DC playing 1 week after the other, you know.
And Metallica the week before that. This is crazy.
Metallica, and then Kendrick Lamar was just last week.
And Lady Gaga.
It's just sort of like, it's just kind of, it's endless. And I'm assuming, I don't know, I'm not seeing the data, but I know that, you know, obviously like Metallica, Oasis, AC/DC, they were all multiple sold out stadium shows. So you're talking about hundreds of thousands of people, not just even tens of thousands.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Well, I wonder who was the last. Wild. I wonder who was the last. Well, AC/DC, I guess is. But what other Australian acts are getting the opportunity to play those larger scale venues? There's a handful, I guess.
Yeah, I can't think of anything post-COVID really, apart from bands supporting. Like they always have Australian, or they don't always have, but they often have Australian supports as the main event. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, really.
True. Well, what else do you think people can do to help support local musics? Just make them stay relevant in the saturated marketplace?
I think just attending shows. I mean, I think that's the most important thing you can do. You're helping such a grassroots economy just from on every level, basically. But then also, I guess getting involved online if that's how you choose, you know, to consume your music. But just download more Australian music, purchasing music also is really important, which I don't know whether people really do that anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Merchandise, I guess.
Yeah, merch as well definitely helps. But just showing up, just going to see music and going to see stuff that, you know, isn't your favorite thing, something that maybe isn't so much on your radar, or a band you literally just don't know, you've never seen them before or heard of them. I think that's sort of really fallen away post-COVID especially. I think people sort of just want to consume things they know they're going to enjoy, which is, you know, not thinking outside the box very much.
Yeah, I agree. I think the value of a different or an unexpected experience has almost diminished, hasn't it? People want guaranteed experiences.
Yeah, that's where the stadium thing comes in. I think it's so curated, and I liken it to sort of like reading a menu before going to a restaurant and knowing exactly what you're going to get. Going to those stadium shows, you've seen the videos, you've seen everything, you've heard the songs, you know exactly what you're going to get, and people are doing that because it's comforting.
People would even check the set lists.
For sure.
You know, are they going to play my favorite song?
Yeah. Or when will that song come? You know, within the actual concert. Yeah, it's the sort of the unknown, the unpredictable, the new discovery seems to be falling away, which is a bit sad, I think.
Yeah, and even trying to like put it on the menu of those big shows by having an opening act. Lots of people will just miss that opening act anyway.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, and same as putting, I think it's an initiative to always have an Australian supporter on those really big stadium shows. Most people just don't show up until the main event anyway. So, I mean, we are finding that at Nighthawks as well. We, as a venue, actually don't release set times as a public information. We don't tell the bands that they can't, but as the venue, we don't, because we'd rather people just show up for the start of the show.
Yeah.
And often as well, we'll have bands that are the ones who have organised the show and would be perceived as the headliner. They actually don't end up playing last. So with the idea that people just come to the show and stick around and see all the bands.
Yeah. I did a recent sort of idea at the Listening Room acoustic sessions, which I host at a yoga studio. And so I hand selected 5 artists, but I don't release the order of those artists. I get the audience members to draw it out the hat on the night.
Yeah, cool.
So you've got to be there to try and catch your artist if you're there for that specific person, but in hopes that everyone, once they're in the environment, they're more likely to stay there, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and discover something, see a band they've not seen before, because they're not there for those bands or those artists specifically.
And those are the most delicious moments, when you do stumble up on something that's different and moves you. It's like, wow.
Yeah, for sure.
I found something.
Yeah, like it happens for me all the time at Nighthawks, because obviously there's, up to 15, 20 bands playing a week. And when there is a band that I haven't seen, and I go upstairs and check it out for a bit, and then I've discovered a great new band, and then that starts a sort of new relationship where we will ask that band to come back to organise their own show, and it just kind of like progresses the whole setup.
Yeah, you've got it on tap. I see what you're doing.
Yeah. Literally, yes.
Yeah, it's not the only thing on tap. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of local music, every episode we feature a recent release from a New Zealand or Australian artist. This week we've got a New Zealand artist, a song called Dunner's Boy from April 33 in his debut album. We're going to have a listen to that now and come back and chat a little bit about it. And then we'll move into some discussions around artist development. So stick around, you're in the space now. Catch you soon. Back. That song was Dunner's Boy by April Baby from his debut album 33. Man, we chillin'. We are chillin' on that one. What immediately grabbed your ears, Leah?
Definitely very summery vibes. Feel like it's a full sort of summer tune. But also just has like strong Kiwi energy for me. I feel like before even looking up, where the artist was from, I could tell that had strong New Zealand energy going on.
Yeah, Dunner's Boy, Dunedin Boy as it is. I know he recorded a lot of this in Fiji as well. So for me, it had a lot of island energy, island chill energy.
Yeah.
I thought the vocals was really interesting in that it almost feels like he turned down the entire main feed of the vocals and that we're just hearing like the reverb. The vocals were living in an atmosphere. Like they were so like spacey the whole time.
Yeah.
I think that contributed to some of that chill essence that he was trying to capture. And then it
for sure.
sort of just bobbed along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what sort of genre do we call that music, do you reckon?
I don't know. I mean, it's definitely pop.
Yeah.
It's like, it's definitely a pop tune. But yeah, it's definitely got like island vibes, could be like Caribbean kind of vibes.
Yep.
But makes sense that like when you find out that he spent time in Fiji as well. So
yeah,
I find it really hard to put music in genres now.
I agree.
I
agree.
Yeah,
Me too.
Yeah.
There's so many subgenres, and it feels like you can just put a word in front of a genre and that's it. Someone was telling me their top genre for their Spotify Wrapped was art pop. And I was like, the fuck is art pop?
Yeah, I feel like, people are just meshing words together and that creates a new music genre.
Yeah, chill pop, right? Clearly a chill pop song.
Yeah.
Nah, it's really cool. And the whole album has that same sort of essence. I highly recommend checking it out if that's what you're looking for. And it is just in time for summer. Like you say, a nice one to sit around and have a lazy beer in the sunshine, I reckon. Maybe some feet in the paddling pool. Get it going. April, baby.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Now, just a quick little ad spin for GYMjot. Get your musical journey on track. We offer some song feedback services that you can tap into if you head over to our website. That's gymjot.com.au. It's a free service, and I'll basically give you a page worth of notes about your song, or you can upgrade to get a full in-depth, full song analysis. And who knows, maybe your submission will end up right here on the AUNZ Music Podcast. And feedback is one of the most important artist development tools you have. In fact, artist development is where GYMjot thrives. With our tried and tested development course, you can unlock your inner artist and find your musical direction, all within the context of your situation. So zoom over to gymjot.com.au to book a free 30-minute consultation. That's right, a free 30-minute consultation. And that brings us to our artist development chit-chat. Leah. Now, having worked in the live music sector, I thought we could maybe lean a bit more into some insights you have for artists to navigate that space, and in particular, landing like their first gig or something like that. Like, what would you say to an artist who's trying to enter the live music scene here in Melbourne?
I think pick a venue that is going to be open, honest, communicative, and helpful. And a lot of feedback I get from bands who play at Nighthawks where it was their first or, only they've played a few shows is that unfortunately a lot of venues aren't. They specifically either don't have time or just don't have the interest to help and guide bands and artists who have never done it before to organise and do a show, which in itself is disappointing but also understandable for other venues. I really pride myself on not being like that and being open to any amount of questions that people have. But also we have like a really easy and concise document that we call our venue info pack that we send to bands. So they can list 10, 15 questions that they might have, and I just send them through this info, and pretty much every one of their questions will be answered in a really concise manner. So, I feel like other venues could do that. It's pretty easy, and we obviously send that document out, up to 15 times a week. But I understand also that other venues are sort of not looking for first-time live performance bands or artists. They're looking for people that have, their foot in the door a little bit more. So, I'd just say to artists or bands, pick a venue, and try your luck, basically.
Yeah. Do you find, just a little side note, do you find bands that play their first show with you often pull like a crowd of friends to the venue?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would imagine it's reasonably reliable for them to bring, a good pack of friends. first show,
For sure. Yeah.
they're normally pretty nervous. They like to get everyone on board. It's normally like that third or fourth show where friends slowly start to to stop coming. I mean, you can't expect your whole fan base to be your friends. How would you go about choosing a venue? Because there's so many venues that offer live music. How would an artist know where to start?
I mean, I think familiarity with that venue. You know, you've been to see shows at that venue before. Genre specific, you know, like we aren't a genre specific venue, but you've got venues, you know, I mean, even like places like the Tote are opening themselves up to different genres a lot more than ever before. I think you're seeing all Melbourne venues opening themselves up and not sort of sticking to being genre specific. But yeah, vibe, the room, the size of the room, you know, you've got to sort of start somewhere and decide a place that's going to suit you, and also feasibility, you know, like hitting up somewhere like the Corner Hotel for your first ever show, you know, 700, 800 cap band room, you're probably going to be ignored, you know. So, work within your expectations.
It's a really good point, noticing the size of the room. Realistically, you're probably looking for a venue that's between 50 to 100 cap sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's going to feel good, you know, even if you half fill it, it'll feel nice. Yeah.
Exactly.
What's the capacity?
That's what's really good about our room.
What is it?
So we do 8. So we do 80. Yeah, at Nighthawks now. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Yeah, that is I love that about Nighthawks, because hosting the open mic night there, you know, you never know how many people are going to come. We've had up to 30 people, and that feels like quite packed because we're sitting down as well. But then you can have like 12 people in there and it feels like enough. You know, it still feels like a bit of a vibe. So, great place for a foot in the door. What should a band have prepared then? If you were talking about that little document that you have, which people can obviously reach out to you and get firsthand, but just a couple of key points that maybe people wouldn't know, what should they have prepared?
So most venues, especially for bands that are sort of up and coming, they're going to ask for you to organise your own show. So basically, the venue's going to give the room, generally, or we do anyway, we'll organise the sound tech, who's extremely versed in using all the gear and all the room and mixing different styles of bands. And then we provide a door person. And then obviously we operate as a bar downstairs as well. So we're going to provide the bar staff, you know, that sort of thing. But different venues provide different things. So you do really need to find out. Some venues don't provide any backline. So if you want to play there, you're going to have to hire all your own backline, including PA sometimes, which is kind of insane. And I'm not sure why certain venues operate that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think initially just having an understanding of you're a band, you're going to play a set that's probably going to be between half an hour to 45 minutes, but also that you will need to organise support bands as well. So it's best to have some other bands on board or bands that you've got in mind that you're going to ask to play with you, because venues don't really, or our size venues don't get involved in curating shows for you. It's just too time consuming, and there's not a lot of value to it from our perspective.
Yeah. And what costs involved would an artist expect booking a show?
Really depends on the venue. Most venues take a ticket cut is the way that they do it. So, most sort of venues that are hovering around our sort of capacity and, you know, similar style generally take $3 per ticket. We have decided to do a different system where we don't get involved in ticket sales at all. Bands take 100% of ticket sales, but we do have a minimum attendance requirement, and that's different for Thursdays and Sundays and Fridays and Saturdays, where there's an expectation that more people would attend a Friday and Saturday show because it's the weekend, so more people are out. And if you don't meet that attendance requirement, then we just ask for there to be a contribution to the sound fee, which is our main cost for putting on shows. So because we operate as a bar, we just have, everything's operating as normal, and then we just have bands upstairs. So the only thing we're sort of asking to cover is to have that extra person, the sound person, because if there wasn't a show on, they wouldn't be at the venue on that day.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So I'm a new band. I email you. You send me the list of all the information, all the things I should know before I book with you. What is the next point of contact? The next email that I send you? What's the dream email for you to get next in terms of like how should I be describing myself from that point? What's like the whole mock-up draft? Is there something that you really want to see in that next email?
The only thing I want to see next is I've organised 2 other bands to play with me.
Okay.
And then the show can move forward from there. It starts to get difficult, but when people lock in dates and then they sort of get back to me and they're like, I'm struggling to find other bands to play with. Do you have anyone you could recommend, or can you get in contact with people? Then it sort of starts to get a bit tricky. And I do continue to help as much as I can, but also it needs to be taken into consideration that I'm doing this up to 6 times a week, for other bands. So, yeah.
You just want the least amount of
dream email. I would prefer that. Yeah. It makes things smoother and, means I can focus on all the other things I need to do.
So a band wants to have about a 30 to 45 minute set prepared. That can be originals and cover songs, probably leaning into originals.
No. Yeah, so we actually have a policy of no covers bands anyway. Throwing in a cover is, appropriate.
Yeah.
But our whole aim is to host original live music.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Ausify
we have been contacted in the past.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So have that prepared. Have 2 support acts or other acts that are going to join you on the night. Set up a ticket link and something that could be through like Eventbrite or Oz Tickets. Anything.
So we use Humanitix. Okay. We're not in any kind of deal with them specifically. We just like to use them because they're an ethical ticketing company. All of the the extra little fees and charges actually get gathered up and used for charity initiatives throughout the world. And also it's just a really good user-friendly platform that we, really enjoy using. So that's our preference. Some bigger bands have deals with specific ticketing companies. So we're not going to force them to use Humanitix in that regard. But when people don't have a specific affiliation to a ticketing company, then we're very pro on Humanitix.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just creating a little checklist as we go. I've got my set. I've got my support acts. I've set up my ticketing link with whatever the venue's sort of requirements are or suggestions are. I've got to make sure I have whatever backline isn't provided. I've got to sort that out and source that myself. Is there any marketing policies?
So just have a poster. Make sure that you've got a poster organized and you've got all the relevant info, band names, date, time, where it's happening, and then start promoting on generally Instagram. Some people decide to do Facebook events still, but, we don't use Facebook personally as a business anymore. Just get the word out, start promoting.
Yeah. Cool. So there's a little bit of creative freedom in your promotional tactics, except for the poster.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, trying to organise a show without a poster, I think, would be quite difficult. If people wanted to try and pull that off, they could. But I don't know how you'd sort of get the word out.
But that would generally be like, that would also include like printing off some posters and bringing them to the venue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, we ask people to do that. It's not mandatory, but we suggest that people to do that because it gets the word out more. Obviously, everyone who's coming to gigs, we've got posters all throughout the venue so people can check out what's happening later in that month.
Yeah. So what am I missing? Is there anything else they would want to have prepared?
That's pretty much it. Yeah, your lineup, your ticket link, your poster, and then just making sure you've got gear that that we don't provide. But we also suggest that bands share gear, especially if they're coming from interstate as well. So using sharing amps, that sort of thing.
And take as much off the venue's plate as possible, essentially, to be the smoothest sailing, best booking act.
Yeah, for sure. And also just listen to the venue. We have lots of people that want to do very specific things at specific times. We have standard times. It's just the way we operate. We don't see the need to start a show at 6:30 p.m. compared to when we normally started at 8 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to make much of a difference. Set lengths as well. I don't think there's many people that want to watch a band play for an hour and a half these days. Most people's attention spans are pretty limited. So our suggestion is 30 to 45 minutes. So, I think just listen to venues because they're doing it and they've been doing it for a long time and it's successful. So, yeah.
Cool. There you go, folks. You've got the toolkit to get your first gig booked. Is there any other insights you would have or last points of advice for artists navigating live music scene?
I think being involved is really important. So you don't have to be going to the same venue every week to be checking out bands, but being hit up by an artist or by a band that just has no understanding of our venue is kind of quite frustrating. Again, because it adds to all the admin. They're asking a lot of questions that they don't specifically need to know, but with just a small amount of diving onto our Instagram, they would be able to work that out themselves. But also, I guess, some venues are just a bit wary of artists or bands getting in contact with them wanting to play and having no understanding of the venue because it's a bit like, well, you could be hiring any room anywhere. So why do you specifically want to play at this venue? So I think, just having some knowledge, some understanding. Again, to liken it to restaurants, it's kind of like contacting a restaurant, making a booking, and then saying, we want Italian food when you're contacting a Vietnamese restaurant to book a function or a table. It's just sort of like, well, we don't do that here. Yeah. So, a small amount of, pre work could have, kind of taken away this 5 emails to sort of get to this point. So
no, that's a good point. And just being present on the live music scene is not just beneficial for understanding what venues offer, but just for you as a musician in general. There's a lot of benefits just for meeting other people, getting inspiration from other acts, keeping up with the cutting edge of new music, having those different experiences. Cool. Thanks, Leah. And thanks for still responding to those emails. Like, as I know it's such a daunting thing as a new artist and you have no idea what you're meant to do navigating that space. And just to get a warm email back and like a very direct sort of list of like, this is what we offer, this is what you need to do. Clears the air, and it's much better than just shouting into the void, because I know firsthand that there's venues that do not respond to those emails, and I'm not saying that's like their fault. They're busy people, they've got things going on, they have to pick where they give their attention. But it can be demoralizing as an artist when you're hitting up all these venues and you're getting nothing. So thanks for still responding. It's a big thing.
That's all right. Yeah. I mean, I enjoy those emails. I enjoy kind of giving a thorough and really easy to understand explanation. I can also put myself in that situation, and it's really easy to think back to, when you didn't know how to do something, and if someone helped you out and wasn't condescending or negative, it can change your whole world. Like, it can change your whole perception of how things are done, but it also, you have that knowledge then. So you can just move on from that point on after you've done your first show and continue your journey as a band or artist. And that's such an amazing thing for us to see. We've seen so many bands play their first show or some of their first shows at Nighthawks, and now they're playing at Meredith, and that's what we're there for. That's such a major goal that we've always set out to achieve. And it's so great when you see that, actually eventuating.
Yeah. That's awesome. Support breeds support, I think. I hope it all comes full circle back. Awesome.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap it up there, folks. Anywhere people can keep in touch with the happenings at Nighthawks then? Clearly not Facebook anymore.
I mean, everything from Instagram goes to Facebook by default. So
true.
if Facebook's your thing, then, everything's still on there. But our website is really user-friendly. All of our gigs are listed there. There's the link to the poster, to tickets, to all the info about the bands. And then just, keeping on our Instagram, we do weekly stories and a weekly roundup of the gigs that we have on.
And the best way to contact you to try and book a gig?
So through our Instagram, we have our bookings email that's on there. So nighthawksbooking@gmail.com. Pretty simple.
Great. Awesome. All right, that's it, folks. We're going to let Dunner's Boy play us out here. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in again. We're in the new year. Yeah, that's right. We're recording here December 8th, but it's our new year when this is released. So get those fresh gigs going. Hit up Nighthawks, eh? We'll get a flood of emails. Haha. All right, cool. Thanks, Leah. Take care, everyone. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you. Cheers.